Today's guest is someone whose career quite literally made mine possible. Before I ever dreamed of becoming a stylist, she was defining what that even meant. Andrea Lieberman, welcome to the Inside Edit.
Thank you.
You have built the blueprint for everything stylists like me could wish to become long before social media or stylist credits were a thing. She was quietly making history, crafting red carpet moments that stopped the world and ultimately turned celebrity styling into an art form. Her work gave women like me permission to dream bigger, to see styling as both a business and a voice. She has truly paved the way.
Oh my God, I have chills. Thank you. Oh my God.
It's true.
You're first of all, you're amazing, and I'm so happy to be here. I mean, that's such a bad word. I am so dreams come true.
What are you talking about?
No,
You're a dream
honestly,
come true.
You are.
Why?
Are. Because your energy is just amazing.
Thanks.
And I love what you do. And I love who you are in this world. And I love how you present yourself. And, we were just having a conversation about being honest and vulnerable. And I just am like, I get really proud of the women that I see out there living their life in ways that are unapologetically themselves and just trying to put one step in front of the other and just owning their shit.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you. And that's really what this podcast is about. So to me, it's so much more about just the accolades or the business things that we've done. It's about, what we were talking about before and the intricacies and how people often don't share, the struggles and the success, and all of it can, simultaneously be. But I just want to, for anyone who doesn't know who you are, which if you're watching this podcast, stop. I don't. Stop. Do you guys remember Jennifer Lopez at the Grammys and, the dress, the J-Lo dress? You did that.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that, but for anyone who's new here, you are one of the most OG, original 1990s pre-social media stylists.
Yes, I am what I like to call OG.
You are the OG.
Yeah.
And so in AA we call it we have our sponsor, then we have our grand sponsor. So you're basically my grand stylist, okay? Because I assisted who assisted you, correct?
Oh my God, who did you assist?
Marielle.
Yo, you assisted Marielle.
Yes.
That's so funny.
So was she your assistant or did you just pass work along?
No, I met Marielle years ago. I believe she was working in the wardrobe department
at MTV.
Yes. And because the girls the women, the artists that I was working with were on heavy rotation in the early Y2K on MTV, I was popping in and out of there, and I was like, does anybody have any tape? Does anybody, I need this, that. So I really loved her, and then we ended up meeting, and I think she may have worked a job or two with me, but really I saw her rise with Rob, who I equally love. Yep. And when I was ready to duck out, I just felt like they were just really the right ones to say.
Which is crazy because they're still styling Jen.
I know.
To this day.
I know.
And these types of relationships, when you see a stylist having longevity with a client like that, I mean, it is so rare these days.
Yeah.
These girls are switching literally in a matter of a week sometimes. They want to try this stylist and then that stylist. It wasn't like that when you started.
No, it wasn't. But, it also speaks volumes about Jennifer and her loyalty.
Yeah,
so I think
true.
it speaks about the person, and I think it speaks about the artist, and it speaks about the team that they want to build and create. And I think, what I did back in the day and what Rob and Marielle do is really work with a lot of, musicians and artists and pop stars. And so that is just a little bit different. No, it's not a little bit different. It's different than dressing for red carpet because you are crafting an image.
Totally.
And you are creating costumes that people are wearing live on TV and in front of millions and millions of people and in performances. And so there's a different element of design and execution that, comes with, creating a tour wardrobe. Totally. For me, it was that was my focus, and the red carpet was the cherry on the top.
Okay, well, I want to get into all that, but I want to start a little bit more of just your early days. I know you grew up in New York.
New Yorker through and through.
Same.
Born, really? Where are you from?
Well, Upper West Side and then Westchester.
Upper East. Okay, so I was born in. Okay, so where'd you go to school? We talk about it another time. Okay.
Yeah.
That's always what I ask.
I don't like to plug my school. I hated them.
Okay. Well,
they don't deserve my breath.
Truth be told,
that's how I feel.
Same thing. Yeah. Game recognizing game. Okay.
I did go to FIT, and I know you went to Parsons.
I went to Parsons. Yeah. Grew up, born in the Bronx, grew up in Rockland, not far from Westchester, and then on the Upper East since I was, sort of 12, 13 years old. So I grew up in the city basically and loved it. And it's a huge part of who I am because it was really my formidable years, going out and growing up in New York at that time allowed you the opportunity to explore. And because now there's so much social media and you could just Google something and look it up, and it's also like there's such an onslaught of content, right? But there you had to be a seeker.
Yeah.
And so I just used to like cut school, sit in the New York Library on the floor with all the old Vogues. I, was a seeker in New York at a really cool fucking time.
And it was almost like my dad grew up in Stuyvesant Town and, there were rules like, okay, you stay between like this street and this street, but you could essentially do what you want for the day and be home by dinner was basically the rule like that they had in their house because it was, in a sense, it was safer then. Like it wasn't, it wasn't, but it was like you would never see kids walking around the way that they were back then, right? Now.
Honestly, it's like I can't even remember except for the fact that like nobody was ever home at my house. Okay. So I just did whatever I wanted. Okay, nice. And so, my mom worked like crazy and my parents were divorced. And so it was like...
No rules.
It was no rules.
That's fun.
Did
you get in a lot of trouble?
Yeah, I got in trouble.
Yeah.
But I think... Listen, growing up in New York is amazing because you're deeply, deeply independent and you get into a lot of situations. I think that the situations that you got into then were a lot less serious than the situations you can get in right now, just to speak to.
A good point. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, totally agree. Yeah. I also feel like I learned the importance of knowing what was like watching my surroundings. I was never allowed to walk around with, headphones in, like just things that I see these LA kids, like, I'm like, you're so trusting.
Yeah.
I was kind of raised like not to be so trusting, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Just to be aware.
I definitely feel like I raised myself.
Okay. I had opposite. Like I was over-parented in a way, but I was such a troublemaker. I don't blame them.
Well, clearly it all worked out.
I know, but rehab in senior year of high school was, scary days. But it's okay. It did work out.
Yeah.
They made it work. So how did you end up at Parsons? Like, how did you know that this was the path?
For me, it was since I was like, 14 years old, I knew that this was just my journey. I didn't know what it looked like, but, I went to school on, 70th Street and Madison Avenue. And I used to walk up and down, walk to school every day, like fogging up the windows. And at the time it was, I'm obviously fairly older than you, but it was the late 80s and it was like the Japanese invasion. It was Comme des Garçons coming into the mix, Yoji. And so really fashion was changing in the States and it was such an exciting time. And it was just like, it was a way that I found myself, and it became an anchor in a world that I needed to create on my own to survive. And so I just loved it. And I started working at a very young age. I went to Parsons. Now you just Google everything and your parents are like, this is what you have to do.
Yep.
But, I took the subway, went downtown, got the Parsons book catalog, looked for what I wanted to take, registered myself. Like I was just very independent.
Yeah. Wow. It was such a different time. Yeah. I can't even, since your generation, my generation to now, it has changed so much.
It's crazy. And I'm raising kids, I have, an amazing daughter who's a senior in high school, and I've got a son who's a freshman, and it's crazy. For their generation, it's even different now. So
big time. Yeah. But I feel like it's just easier now.
Peaks and valleys. Yeah. I think there are things that are easier, but I think it's like there are complexities to it. And because there's so much access, I think that they live in a world of expectation because they see so much, right? It's sort of like, I know when I started my now business and when I was growing up, like for me, I've always lived by the phrase like ignorance is bliss. It's nice to see where you want to go, but I also think there's something something special in not knowing, because that sense of discovery, right? That sense of seeking, that sense of seeking inspiration, seeking to learn something. You know, I've always said like it's all about the journey, and I think that in some ways now this generation, they want to be there. They don't want to take the journey in certain ways. And I think the journey is where all of the beauty unfolds.
I totally agree with you. I see this a lot with the girls who come in and try to work for me in their early 20s, and they don't want to do the whole middle part. You know what I mean? And I don't know where that leaves all of us. Like I respect the desire for boundaries and for enjoying your life. I think we were told like, you work, you don't complain about it. You just, put your head down. If the hours are 20 hours, that's just what it is. Your rate doesn't change. Like, sorry, you want to be here. That's what it takes to be here. It's not that anymore.
No.
But where is that going to leave us? Because this is a complicated subject because I see it, but then I'm like, so what is going to happen to that group of kids who don't want to do the hard work? Like, is the world going to meet them, or are they not going to get where they want to go? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I think that they want to be there, but also, and then the other part of me is like, damn, good for you.
Same.
I'm so inspired by the
boundaries,
but also by the confidence and the vision and the sense of like, I belong there. So I do think that the world is shifting, and I think the kids are shifting, and I think, the new generation is shifting. It will all figure itself out. The pendulum swings. I think it swings this way, then I think it swings back a little bit, I think, but I think at the foundation of all of that is like love and respect and which is so important for people to feel grounded.
I totally agree. And there's nothing more like that matters to me more than having like a loving and respectful space and people that want to come in and be here. But it also means sometimes the days are 16 hours. It just,
game on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just like, and it's funny. I'm like, I don't make the rules. I am doing what we're being paid to do by these. Like, it's like the trickle down effect. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want you guys here for 16. I don't want to be here for 16 hours either. But at the end of the day, the job has to get done, doesn't it? You're going to call this celebrity tomorrow and say, oh, sorry, we didn't want to work that many hours.
No, I hear you. Listen,
how does it work?
It doesn't. My daughter's taking an entrepreneurial class. She's going to be like, Mom, why'd you talk about this to me so much? But she's taking an entrepreneurial class in her school.
That's so cool.
It's amazing. Like, we never had that.
No, that's so cool.
And so they're teaching them so much. So they're getting a lot of access a lot earlier. So they're far more sophisticated than we ever were.
That's true.
But the one thing that the head of the class,
where does she go?
She goes to Brentwood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So
good
one
to
thing
know that they have.
Said, well, the one thing that they don't teach you about being an entrepreneur is like, it is a lot of work, and you work long hours and you work weekends, and it's like, I don't know. I was just bred to be a workhorse.
Me too.
Like, I am just like, bring it on. And
Me
know
too.
what? Listen, my mom was going to law school when I was in elementary school. And so it's so interesting now that I step back and I'm like, see where I'm at, because, there are a lot of like big things happening in life, with, college on the horizon. I think, oh yeah, my mom graduated law school and started working probably around the same time that I started my company, and I saw her work. So I think that like quietly you instill within your children or the people around you a sense of work ethic by you show by example.
No, and I want to be that, for God willing, or future daughter, God willing. I want her to see me working and juggling and doing all the things, because I do think it all rubs off on them. But anyway, okay. Let's get back to like the fact that you are who you are, and I want to get to your business, of course. So from Parsons to styling Jennifer Lopez, I mean, what happened in between, and how did you get there? And also, like I say this all the time, when I started, there was no social media. I was like on Craigslist looking for jobs. Like, so how did you even find yourself in these places?
I mean, okay, I'll give you the 2-minute synopsis, or the 60-second synopsis. So graduated Parsons, moved to Paris for just shy of a year because I had great aspirations, then realized that I really don't speak French, and so it's probably going to be a little hard. So,
But you moved to Paris?
But I moved to Paris.
That's so dope.
Yeah.
That's my one regret in life, by the way.
Well, it's still there. And
I know, you're right.
You know.
Zach loves it. I'm like, maybe one day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I came back to the States, worked, and then I went to Africa for a very long time. I was there for just shy of 2 years.
Wow.
And I think that growing up in New York, I was like grinding at an early age. And so I just felt like I needed to like find myself. I needed to go explore the world. And that really was an amazing time for me. It really created some very core creative, it was very core to who I am as a person today.
Yeah.
And then I came back and I started a little teeny business with a friend of mine selling, tribal jewelry and making clothes out of fabrics. And I loved it, but it really was not, it was one of those back in the day in New York when you could like find furniture on the street and like create, it's a very different thing. And my roommate at the time was in the music business. Mm-hmm. And so it was like between her and I used to work for Romeo Gilli back in the day in the showroom. People just asked me to start styling things. And I lived by and I still do, a little bit less though, because time is challenging, but whenever an opportunity presented it, I went for it.
Yes.
I said yes first and asked questions later. And I think that for me, that was like what connected me to people. So all of a sudden, I started doing a few jobs, and then next thing you know, I met somebody who's like, oh, we have a Vibe cover shoot. I mean, I don't know if you remember Vibe.
I styled a million Vibe cover shoots, by the way. So yes, I do.
We had a Vibe cover shoot, and then like the Vibe cover shoot was a timeout, and then from timeout it was Vibe, and then essentially I was introduced to Jennifer through mutual friend, and my agent at the time, and so
you had an agent. You had a styling agent.
I had a styling agent because there was a stylist. Do you remember Deborah Wakdin?
Yeah, of course. Rest in peace. Yeah,
rest in peace. Exactly. Yeah. Deb and I knew each other for a long time when I used to work. Anyway, Deb was styling Jennifer. She needed some help. She had this agent. I didn't have an agent. I didn't know how to ask for money and like what a day rate should be.
Yep.
I was like winging it. And I remember the first time I went up into Sony Records that somebody had actually requested me for an album cover. And I was hyperventilating in the elevator. I was like, oh my God, just breathe. Because I went in and I'm like, I'm going to ask to get paid $750 a day. Because like, I really need this money.
Yeah.
And so I was hyperventilating, and they were like, yeah, great, fine. And I was like, oh my God, that was so easy.
I know, but the fact that you had to do it yourself, I mean, I did too for a long time until I had an agent.
Yeah.
But anyway, which is the worst.
It was hard. So anyway, so I met this woman. I had an agent, and then all of a sudden, it just started happening, and Jennifer's career was like on full throttle, and she was just, I mean, I love that woman. She's like a joy to work with, and she is, I think like I just learned so much about like talk about work ethic.
Yes.
I mean,
Jen works.
She will work anybody under the table.
Yeah, still is.
Still to this day. Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah.
She is just great. And then shortly thereafter met Gwen, who is like, for me, I love that woman. She's like the bubbles in champagne. She's amazing. And, I've had the great opportunity to work with Mary J. and, Faith Hill, and just so many amazing women. Yeah. And it was just, it's been a really great journey.
I mean, did you have any idea the impact that you were having at the time? Like, did you know that dress at the Grammys was to this day going to be one of the most iconic red carpet looks of all time?
No, honestly, I didn't. And it was really, truth be told, it was so effortless. It was not premeditated. We were waiting for something to come in from Italy. but I knew that it had it's so, the stuff we know as stylists,
right.
You know that if something is coming in that's got snakeskin on it, you might get stuck in Fish and Wildlife in the customs department.
Correct.
And I was like, she was going last minute, and I was just like, I have a strange feeling this is not going to show up.
Yep.
And it was so last minute, I think I had one other thing. So I was driving down Fifth Avenue, and the Versace store, I was like, oh, I love that dress, and there it is in the window. I called my girlfriend, who was the manager of the store, and I said, please messenger that to my house. I'm leaving for LA tonight.
Yeah. So you showed up with 2 dresses.
Basically. And
shut the fuck up.
Basically, maybe 3. I don't know. Maybe there's
really?
Always a little few on
sure.
the back.
But okay.
It's a little controversial, and they were like, well, somebody's already worn it. And I was like, it's fine. So,
had someone worn it before?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I think it was like Amber Valletta.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, Met Gala back in the day.
Yeah, okay.
So she put it on, and I was like, there are 2 choices, and this one might be a little controversial, and at the time Benny was there, Benny Medina, the manager. He was like, that's it. I was like, okay, great.
Well, even with Gwen Stefani, and did you do No Doubt as well, or was it just Gwen at that time?
Just the very end of No Doubt. I feel like their last album.
Okay.
And maybe like greatest hits, but it was really, I started with her then, but we really kind of deeply gelled on her solo.
I just feel like these women at that time were so iconic, and their style is on every mood board now going forward, you know, and you did that. Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, I really believe in the fact that, it is such a privilege to work with artists that have visions.
Yes.
And so for me, it was always my job to amplify the woman. Totally. And amplify, where she wants to go, and help, chart a path. But yeah, it was great. I mean, when Gwen and I worked on the first Lamb record, which I feel like I just saw, it's 20 years ago, which is shocking to me.
Yeah. Lamb was her closing line for anyone who doesn't know.
And it was also the first album.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The first solo album.
Yeah.
It was just really, really fun. I mean, we were at a time where we knew that we had this great opportunity to be deeply collaborative. And we sat down at the kitchen table, and we just hammered it out and created, this style Bible, and really just wanted to build, on a story from one video to the next, and one single to the other. And, it was just a time that I felt like the labels really invested so meaningfully into the vision,
the visuals,
the 360 vision of the artist, and the visuals, and
they're not doing that anymore.
I mean,
I'm here to tell you.
It's like, I saw that. I saw that coming down the line.
You did?
Yeah, I felt like I did. I felt like the industry changed, and of course.
Is that how or why you decided to step away?
Well, I decided to step away because I was really solidly working as a stylist for over 10 years.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to, put that thread it back to what we were talking about the journey, for me, I've always been a seeker, and I've always been somebody that really valued the journey. And so I just felt like I was ready to change. And so I was probably about your age, and wanted to start a family, and thought, it's a really hard life.
It is,
to be on the road like that, and to, I just needed a different structure. So I just held my nose and jumped in the deep end.
Well, that's not an easy decision to make. And obviously you've created a brand that's now been around almost 20 years.
Yeah,
right?
17
years.
So crazy.
Which is, that in itself is such a huge accomplishment. But I just want to go back to this part, because I don't think people understand how much we give of ourselves to these women. And although it is an honor and a privilege, and something that I feel like is why I'm on this earth, it does take away from living your full life, right?
It definitely takes away.
How many birthday parties have you missed? Weddings, baby.
Family functions.
Funerals. I've missed funerals.
Also, I think what is so appealing about that part of the industry is that you become part of this entourage or like, you know, you just become part of this.
It's very shiny.
Yeah, it's shiny, but it's also like, it's fun.
It is fun. It's crazy.
There's nothing I love more than a glam room.
Totally. And like the experiences that we've had the privilege of having, like most people in the world will never get to have, you know, and
the access.
Yeah.
You
and
know.
I also, like I said this to someone once, it's like, we are like, these people are so front facing, right? And they're going in front of billions of people. And we are the people literally right below them, holding them up to be able to do that.
Yeah.
That is a privilege, but also comes with like an immense amount of pressure.
Oh, the pressure was huge. I mean, like, honestly, and for me also, like, but like designing tours. And like, it's not just one outfit. It's like 10 outfits. And then they have to.
And then they break. And then you have to fix it.
And then they have to be all layered because you want to pull this away. Yeah. And then there's like 37 dancers and 15 band members and a budget. So, you know, it is I was running around, you know, 6 months pregnant in the basement of Caesar's Palace on my first child. And I was like, this is great, but it's just like it's run its course, and I'm okay with that.
You are?
Yeah.
No regrets?
No, none whatsoever. I mean, none whatsoever.
Was like red carpet styling just not even something that like really, I mean, I know you obviously did red carpet, but you were more focused on musicians. Was like your regular actress just not something that you were even inspired to do?
No, I mean, I did a few and I loved it. I had, you know, but it was just like, I've just always been a music girl. Like, I love music. It's always inspired me.
I always joke I was like a pop star in another life. Like, I love a crystal.
Yeah,
I just do. I'm sorry, but I do.
It just was really, there's something also about the world of, you know, bands and, you know, it was fun for me also, like the collaborative experience and the collaborative aspect of working with incredible directors from like Francis Lawrence to Hype Williams to, I mean,
Dave Meyers.
I was like, and the list goes on.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and then you work with like the best of the best in hair and makeup. And like, we were our own little community. And it was, it just was really special, and I love that time, and I'm still like I still keep in touch with some people, and you know, now this one's doing a movie. I mean, some people are up for Oscars, and I just, you know, it was just a part of my journey that I never premeditated. It just was like I said. Somebody said, "Would you do this?" And I said, "Sure, no problem." I needed a job, and it just kind of.
That's exactly how my career unfolded. I've said this so many times, and if you're young and want to do this, and this goes for anyone in any industry, I think, is just saying yes to everything, and eventually you get to the point where you can start to say no.
Exactly.
You know? But I said yes to, do you want to do, you know, 65 dancers in 2 days, and it's an overnight shoot, and it's going to be in the rain, so all the clothes will be wet, and you're like, yep, I'll do it.
No problem.
No problem. I'll be there.
I remember when I did I used to do a lot of extras on music videos. Like that's
how
really where I started. Yeah, exactly. So I did the parade in Wycliffe, Guantanamera, and I mean, literally did a parade for.
Do you remember how many people it was?
I honestly can't remember, but it just was like, it was intense, and it just, you know what I loved about, what I love most about the job, and what I, you know, no regrets, but you know, something that is just different, right? Is that you never know where you would end up, right? You end up all over the world in these different situations, meeting different people, and that's exciting.
Yeah,
it's like fun and exciting.
Totally.
And,
I was just talking to Eva about this. She was in Paris for Fashion Week, and obviously all the fashion people are there, so it's not that hard to run into people. But she's like, you know, I ended up at this dinner, and then I met all these people, and I was just having flashbacks of these experiences that you can't even premeditate are going to happen, and then all of a sudden you're at this dinner and you're sitting next to Anthony Vaccarello, and you're like, whoa, how did this happen?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And like, what a privilege, like what an honor. None of it, I feel the same way, like never, ever, ever took 1 second for granted.
Yeah.
But I understand stepping away, but I'm stuck on how hard that must have been. But maybe it wasn't for you. Like it would feel hard to me.
It was hard.
It was.
Yeah, it was hard. Certainly the first year. But then, you know, when I started the company, when I started A.L.C., I was pregnant with my daughter. So there were so many things changing in my life. And it was hard. It's hard to get those calls where you're like, oh, please, da-da-da-da, or friends that are, and I've said no to,
big people.
Yeah.
Say somebody. Come on, just say it.
I mean, I can't. I can't out of respect.
Okay, that's fair.
But it was actually probably for me one of my first intentional life choices.
I understand that.
Listen, by the time you're doing it and then the budgets are sort of shrinking and it gets stressful. It's a lot of stress.
It is.
And also the other thing that people know is like you are constantly putting money out.
Yeah.
You're just, it's like, so it's like accounting. It's like you become this one man little
bank.
Corporation and bank where you need accounting and you need this and you need that. So for me, I just felt like it was for me the right turning point to sort of imagine a different future for myself. And I wanted to start a family. And I had dreams and aspirations from when I was younger that I just kind of, put in the parking lot, and I just got back in that car and drove it out.
Yeah. And you always knew you wanted to do a clothing line. In some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it was just like I went to Parsons, I studied fashion design, and it was just, and I guess I forgot it for a while, and I'm very grateful. I had an agent at the time who's like, I kind of see the writing on the wall, and I think there's an opportunity here, you should do this, and I was like, okay. So it was presented to me in a way that it was like, fine.
I'm in a similar place in like the new, heading to motherhood journey.
Yes.
And
Which I'm so excited for
Thank
you, by the way.
It's a road. We'll talk about it eventually.
And like with so many different peaks and valleys.
Yes, so many peaks and valleys. But it is interesting because I've been talking about this a lot, and it's exactly to your point. Something does shift within a woman when you're talking about becoming a mother or you are a mother, that your priorities do in fact shift, and making choices that are just healthier for your body or just your family.
Yeah.
And that's hard for me because I'm like, well, can't we have it all? Like but I don't want to chase 22-year-olds around the globe either, but so it's just like this funny place to be in. What would your advice be to me?
What would my advice be to you? I think there are very different definitions of having it all, right?
Yeah.
I think that you can't have it all the way you want it all the time. And so I think for me, there are times when I just have to say to my company, listen, peace out. I have some things that I need to deal with, right? And for me also, it's like you'll see, or I don't know what your situation is, but like then you get a little older and then your parents enter a different kind of phase of life. So that whole, it's really true that they say about the sandwich generation. But the point is that can we have it all? It's however you define it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that you can have it all. I do think that you can have, here's my approach, right? Like, my approach is I have a list of everything I want to do, right? And usually it's about 80 bullet points long, and that's only by sitting down for like a short time and writing it. So I take my list, I cut it in half, everything on the bottom half, I'm like, I'm just going to throw that away, right? And then I prioritize the 3 to 5 most important things, and I try and focus on the 3 most important things at that moment. But with the kid, with raising kids and building a business and being married and being a daughter and being a friend, I think for me the most important thing is, and I am so bad at this, but I try to remind myself, is that like you have to do things for yourself because, like for me, it's going out with girlfriends. Like I will go for a breakfast, for a coffee, for a dinner. I will go out with girlfriends because they feed my soul. And I think it's important that you figure out what feeds your soul to make you whole so that you can step into those areas of your life that are really important and need you to grow.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Let's talk about A.L.C. Okay. So you started this brand 17 years ago.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
It's so crazy. Yeah. It's your initials.
Yes, Andrea
for anyone
Lieberman
who doesn't
collection.
know that. And such an iconic brand. And
Thank you.
I mean, 17 years is I'm convinced that a clothing line is the hardest thing to do ever. And to be able to do it for as long as you have, it just speaks volumes. So tell me about the early days and how, you know, it all unfolded for you.
Well, I call it my third child.
I'm sure.
For sure.
Yes, yes.
Well, I started, as I said, when I was pregnant with Paloma, and then 2 years later had Leo. So I was doing it as I was raising kids. It's much the same as anything, really, in that, you know, it's a journey. Mm-hmm. And I think that, again, 17 years ago, the world was very different from starting something right now.
Yeah.
There, you know, we lived in a world of like, great, it was launching at Barney's. Jennifer, you know, co-hosted my...
That's so nice.
Yeah, she's lovely.
Yeah.
I adore her. And I am also constantly quietly cheerleading her in the background.
Well, here you are on the podcast cheerleading her.
I started it, and for me, it was like scary because, you know, I was making money styling, and and all of a sudden I wasn't. So, so I worked my ass off, did as many jobs as I could to, like, you know, make sure that I was set up for not really getting paid for a year or two. Mm-hmm. And it was a really big learning experience. I started with a couple of partners. We built slowly, launched at Barney's. And, so we did our first collection and we were shipping it 2009, and like the whole stock market crashed. And so for me, I was a little freaked, but at the same token, I think that the values that I had then for what I wanted to do and what I wanted to contribute in the market are the same values that I have today. Really great quality, you know, that at a price that you're paying for quality, but it also aligns with the values of my life, right? Like, I can't go out and spend today, you know, $4,000 on a dress because, you know what? I value my kids' education. And so that's where my money goes. I value having a nice home because I want to have a nice place to raise my family. So I think for me, what we did back then was we entered the market at a really great price. So a lot of women that were like, shopping and designer started to shop down. And so I think we were very early adopters into this kind of space in the market that we saw as a white space. So that worked really well. 5 years later, my partners wanted out. And so they sold out to private equity company, who are now my partners today, much as though they'd like to, you know, leave because it's been a while. We started at a time when you can start something with, you know, a small investment. It's not like now you have to go out and you have to raise venture capital because you need to build all this whole, you know, this whole kind of like e-commerce engine and content and So for me, we were able to start with a very small investment, and we have never raised money, and we are not a company that is in debt, and we are a company that like is profitable and has been essentially since, like, you know, after the first year in business. And that for me is one of the things that I'm most proud of, because it is really hard, especially as the world changes, right? So we started in wholesale. We then, you know, we built our e-commerce business. We started opening stores. And so all of that takes investment. And so I feel like for me, the journey is not just really about like the amount that I've learned about like design and production and fabric and all of that, but like I feel like I now have an MBA.
I'm sure. In life, you have an MBA in life.
Yeah, because I mean, the spreadsheet thing is like still a little much for me, but yeah. Yeah,
well, the blessing is you probably can just pay people to do that part.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, for me, it's no different than being a stylist. Your team matters.
Yes.
And I'm looking around the room and I'm looking at who's on your team and I'm looking who's on my team. And at the end of the day, for me, it's about investing in the right people.
Yep.
That really want to see you succeed and that want to see themselves succeed and want to do it together. Yeah. And so I think, you know, the values are all the same. It's just the world around you that changes.
It's changed. Yeah. Well, and also I always say too is like hiring the person who does what you can't do. Like I can't pretend to know how to do the spreadsheet or make this, you know, Canva presentation. I still don't know how to use Canva. I'm sorry, everybody.
But game recognizing game.
Yeah, I don't even have a computer. Like after my house burned out, I didn't even buy a new computer.
Oh
I'm like,
God.
it's just not my love language.
Yeah. Oh.
But to your point, I mean, the world has changed so much. How do you feel like the business has sort of adapted to, because I feel like even since I started styling, it's changed so much. I had to learn how important social media was going to play into my side of the business. That I mean, sure, I could just be a stylist, I could just do one thing, but there's so much more opportunity if I sort of roll with the punches. And I do see a big difference between the stylists of an older generation and mine. Yeah. And it's sort of like they missed the boat a little bit.
No, I mean, for me, I always said, like, if there was Instagram around back when I was grinding, everything would be so much different. But I always personally valued, it's harder to be in front. I'm a behind the scenes girl, right? Yep. And so, and you do this also beautifully and effortlessly, and I adore you. But how is it different? I mean, it's just, I feel like it's different every 6 months. I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like today, it's so different than it was 6 months ago, right?
In what way?
Just, first of all, it's a highly complex 360 organization, and you have so many different departments. Well, let's just talk about tariffs.
Right.
I mean, that thing is just it's like
quite a
it's just all of a sudden you're growing and you're like, everybody's cool, and then somebody just throws a bomb on you and you're like, whoa, this is crazy. And so I have a lot of little tidbits of life philosophy, and one of them is, look around the corner. The same thing why I got that dress from the window. I was like, I have a feeling this other thing isn't showing up. So anyway, the point is you have to look around the corner, and you have to be prepared for something that may happen. But I think that you also have to trust your gut. I just feel like I have trusted my gut on so many levels. I think that you have to be kind to yourself and be vulnerable to people, because mistakes happen all the time. At the end of the day, I always say, heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? But I'm just a girl who's just got this company, and I'm trying to make the best decisions I can every day, between my children, my marriage, my company, and the team. And it is 10 pots boiling on the stove at all times. And there are times when you are out there full in full battle mode, and there are times when you have to retreat and be in cerebral mode. And I think you have to even though the thing for me is every year, because there's growth that happens, whether it's small or big, every year, the stakes kind of get higher and higher. And I think, again, one of the values that I live in my life is about family and around my kids, but so then I take those same values to the organization. And I think, so when you talk about the stakes and you talk about people that have worked with you for 17 years and the fact that they have put their career in your hands, essentially, you're responsible. And so for me, those are the things that really drive me also, just kind of on a very human level, to wanting to do the right things. And I think, I make mistakes all the time. Yeah. It's crazy.
I feel the same way. And I don't think that everyone is that way, by the way. And I really, really, really resonate with that, because it's the stupidest example that just came to my head, but my assistant needs to find a new place to live. And I'm like, oh, I'll go with you to find apartments. You know what I mean? Just because I want to make sure she's good. She matters to me, it matters to me that the people that I'm responsible for are good, and my husband's a real estate agent. Maybe we can help her get a better deal.
There you go.
I don't know. I just am always in the business of supporting the people who support me, I guess. And I really, truly mean that. I was thinking about it on my way over here. I was listening to Gabby Bernstein. I was listening to one of her podcasts.
I really need to sit down with her. Yeah.
Next time she's here. Yeah. And I was listening to one of her podcasts, and it was talking about intuition, and it was talking about trusting yourself, and that's a muscle that I feel like you grow over time. But in our industry, especially as a stylist, because so many times these people are looking at you for the answer, and you have to be so sure within yourself that you have the answer, that they're looking for. Yeah. It's not always right, but we try, and I think you learn to really trust yourself through those experiences, and then are teaching the people who work for you to try to do the same thing, right?
Yeah, and I think that by, you supporting your assistant and by you supporting the people around you, and I also think that there's, I don't want to say it's an art, but there's a special way of being that you invite people onto this journey with you, right? Like you, like in a way, like I feel like I have to constantly sell people my ideas, even within the organization. Like it's not like this is what we're doing and walk away. Right. Like people have great ideas, and I think that, you know, and they want to be a part of growing something. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just been really interesting how to like gather people around your own gut intuition and like really being able to listen to what people are saying at the same time, but know like your know your inner compass, and like just always know that the truth will set you free. Yeah. Whether it's believing your own truth, whether it's, you know, having conversations with other people that are hard. I feel like right now in my organization, my company, I've become much more of a leader, mentor, mm-hmm. honestly these days more than a creator, mm-hmm. because by the time you get to the place where you're like, for me, like where I have 100, we have like, you know, over 120, I don't even know how many people at this point. That's working amazing. For us. Yeah. Life is real, you know, and people have babies, or people are pregnant, or people's, you know, sick, or the dog died, or, you know, like all these things really, you know, matter to people. And if it matters to people, then it matters to me. And so I think it's just what I appreciate about the journey that we've spoken about so much is that like going from like young and excited and a seeker to a doer, to a creative, to an entrepreneur, to a builder. Now I feel like I'm entering this mentor stage in my life. And it's really feels good. Mm-hmm. It really feels good, because it's like, I think the most important thing, no matter where you're on your journey, whether you're a new stylist trying to break in, whether you've been doing it and you're trying to evolve, or you're just at the heart of it, I think that you have to always be looking to improve yourself. And that is something that is really key for everybody's growth.
Wow, I got nothing left.
Sorry.
This woman is speaking. God is speaking through it.
You know me. I just like put a quarter in and I'll keep going.
That is, you're incredible. I feel so honored to be sitting here with you. I feel like we've had such parallel experiences.
I know.
Yeah, and I just...
I remember I reached out to you one time. I was like, hi, Maeve. My name is Andrea.
I know. My name is Andrea. I'm like, it's the queen. Like, I
forgot what we were talking about at the time. And then we were talking about the local love club.
Yes,
and,
you helped me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you did. You helped me.
My daughter has
brand.
the pink hoodie.
No, it's so sweet.
Yeah. And then, listen, I feel like for me, I think we are all better when all of us just rise up together.
Yeah, me too. I totally agree. I wish more people felt that way. I see a lot of, I don't know how to say this the right way. I think there's so much negativity, but we have to focus on the light givers, you know? Like there are a lot of people who don't feel this way in our industry. You know what I mean? Who actually don't want to be supportive. Yeah. And then there's a group of us that do, you know, and I just need to focus. We all need to focus on each other that do, because otherwise it's like just what I'm on this earth for, you know, is to raise the vibration and to help people. And this is what this podcast was about.
Energy alignment.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Okay. This has been like, this podcast is just so full of so much good information. And I just can't wait to share this with people, and to especially the women who've been listening. Tell us what's next.
A continuation.
Okay.
But I've been working really hard on understanding, you know, who I am, where I am, and all the people that I believe are with me. And so I've been working on something at A.L.C. It's called Icons. And it really is, it's really about, you know, the wardrobe fundamentals. I think when we talk about, I'm definitely at this place in my life where I'm like, oh my God, I got to get out the house in 2 minutes. What am I going to wear? You know, I love fashion. Beyond the beyond, but for me, getting dressed really actually needs a solution. So I've been working on really refining the product in a way that will just really make things easier for women.
Like a capsule wardrobe kind of thing?
It's like really like the best of the best of the best, and it all goes together, and you could just like pull it out of your closet and you don't have to think, and you could be doing a million things at one time, but you always look polished and presentable and like, you know, ready to sort of take on life.
I mean, it's so funny you say that, because I feel the same way. I die for fashion. All the looks, whatever. But then when I get ready in the morning, I'm just like, oh, just got to put on these fucking baggy jeans again, another t-shirt, and my sneakers, because I got to work.
Kids. Yeah. I mean, that adds like a whole other layer of complexity.
I know. Yeah. I have one more question for you. Are you a therapy person? Like, how did you get to have such a depth and how did you get here?
I'm a little bit of everything.
Is it like a psychic? Like where?
No,
what are we,
I really I'm not currently in therapy, although I probably really need to be. Although I do have an executive coach who's like,
oh, nice.
Different things at different times.
Yes.
Listen, I have traveled the world. Okay, and I have spent many years and like. I don't know. It's just, I guess, who I am.
Yeah.
But I also think that like it all comes with experience and age and raising kids and trying to figure out kind of how I can help them. I used to be in therapy. I should be in therapy.
No, I wasn't trying to point fingers. Like.
No, I wanted. I mean, I'm like, bring it on. Looks at me. I could talk for hours.
No, I just think I wouldn't have gotten to where I am if it wasn't for the feedback, I guess, that I've gotten through therapy. Like sometimes all it simply is hearing back what I just said. He'll say to me, well, here's what I heard you say. Is that correct? And I go, yep, that's right. But just hearing it back gives me the answer. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
I just needed that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like a deep thinker. I always have been. And so a lot of times it's so funny, like even within the industry, sometimes I feel like I live on the fringe because I'm just generally really bad at small talk. So I am the girl that just wants to like
have the deep talks.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
I'm just like, that's why my girlfriend time is so important.
Me too.
Yeah. So I'm just like a deep.
Yeah, me too.
So
I understand. Just is what it is.
Yeah,
I'm like a deeply sensitive, empathic. Yeah. I don't know. Like I'm too sensitive sometimes.
Yeah,
I think it's painful to be that way. I remember someone saying to me, because I get really close with these clients. You know, I mean, we really share. You share energy, and especially for years. And as I've gotten older, people have said to me, "Would you have done it differently? Like, would you have?" Maybe not spent so much personal time with them or not been so involved in their lives. Like maybe the ending wouldn't have hurt so bad if it wasn't so close. And I just think like, that's just who I am, And it did hurt, but it's like, that's okay. It's like, it's an opportunity to be loving and to be of service to people. And that's just who I am,
And I also think like you've had some really big challenges. I mean, you've had like the house, the fires, like, we're talking about like, your journey into motherhood.
Yeah.
Like, I think time gives perspective.
It does.
And so kind of like maybe I've been doing this for a long time, so I have a lot of perspective. But but the thing is, and it's hard. I know it's hard. You are, I know, and I think that's why we first connected, is that you are so deeply sensitive, and you have this like this inside of you that is so real. Raw, real, alive, vulnerable, like this is life right now.
Yeah.
And so you have to take like the good and the bad and I mean, some days are great and other days are like, fuck, what is going on here,
Totally. I had a dinner the other night and I love my friends more than anything, but someone made a comment about fertility stuff that I just was like, like I was thinking about on my drive home, and I was thinking about this table of girls who just haven't been through what I've been through. That's just the bottom line, and I don't know why I was dealt this hand of cards of challenges in life, but I know that it's like my soul's curriculum, and I know that there's going to be a reason and an understanding for me, whether it's to help other people or to show people that you can go through these catastrophic things and make it out the other side and actually remain more loving and remain, hopeful and faithful that it's all going to be okay, But I also am like deeply aware of the fact that not everyone has walked the path that I have, and that's okay.
Yeah. And think about how good it's going to feel, when you are in that place where you're dreaming of right now. And I think like all of these things that we go through, they all are just like part of this mosaic that really makes us who we are, our experience, the people we surround ourselves with. And so the challenges is what I mean, they always say like pressure builds diamonds, right?
Yeah.
And so it's true, you know?
Yeah.
And then going through all this stuff, oh my God, I love a metaphor. That is, I feel like I need to write a book of metaphors.
You should.
Somebody said to me the other day, you know, and it rings so true, and now I use it all the time, the only way out is through.
That's it.
And so like, you just have to like know that this is just part of your journey and trust.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
That's how I've lived since I really dedicated my life to like the inner work and the self. I'd say like, I mean, I've been sober for 20 years, but really 10 years ago, really making a solid choice that everything is happening for me and not to me. That this is not, I'm not some victim to the circumstances of my life, that this is happening to teach me something.
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine how it'll feel when I have a daughter on the other end, you know, where I'm like, but babe, I went through this. You know what I mean? I got you.
Yeah,
And maybe that's what it's all for.
But let me ask you something. I know that we have to like wrap it up.
Yeah.
But so what are you, what therapy and what have you been actively doing to put yourself into this mindset?
I have a therapist who I met 7 or 8 years ago who like really changed my life. Like I have to get him on the podcast. He is such a, oh God, the exercises, the suggestions that I could do a whole episode of the bizarre things this man has had me do. Okay, I was ready. I'll give you one. This is almost embarrassing to say, but I literally trust this man with all of my soul.
That's amazing.
He married Zach and I. So
what?
Yeah, he married us.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So 7 or 8 years ago, I was trying to get over this breakup, and he told me to go to the store and buy a helium machine with balloons. Okay. And I said, okay, I'll go do that. I buy the thing. Every day I want you to fill the balloon, tie it off, and with a Sharpie, I was trying to release a relationship. I was trying to give over this relationship is not going to work for me, and this is sad, and I'm trying to get over this person. Write how you're giving away the boyfriend, and then float the fucking balloon up into the sky.
That's amazing.
I don't know if it worked, but you know.
But at least it was like something that you were doing every day actively to get through it.
Yeah. And the act of releasing something, I don't know. I have no idea. There was a million things he had me do during that time because it was really a moment of growing for me. And like I said, I could do a whole episode just about that. But I think, you know, for me, I stay in therapy, whether like everything is fine or not fine. I just think there's always an opportunity to dig deeper.
Yeah.
And I have that tattooed on my hand because at some point in my life, I was stagnant until I met him, and I realized the value in just staying with somebody. So it's not just like when the chaos is happening.
Well, that's it. I think like, honestly, like my old therapist used to say, like, you know, I know that it's like a lot for you to come. And if you're like, but actually all the growth really happens when things are fine, because then you're not dealing with all the like mess of the week, and you could actually go deeper into things that are like so really there.
Yeah. No, it's true. And then, you know, I've talked about this so much, but the Hoffman process really changed my life.
I need to
you have to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's your
sign for the day.
No, but that's it. That's it.
I'll get you in quick. Just let me know.
Oh, really? Okay. Because one of my dear girlfriends did it, and she was like,
no, it's life-changing.
Yeah, that's what I need. I need the Hoffman process.
Yeah, that's
I'm
it.
So ready for
Okay, great.
Okay,
Hoffman,
great.
we're coming. Okay, this has been... I like literally could continue talking.
I mean, all day long.
So I think we should stop.
We're gonna stop.
But maybe we'll have you back because I feel like there's so much more to say.
I love it.
I love you. Thank you so much. I am so honored like that you even know who I am. It's like fucking crazy to me.
Stop it. You're crazy.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so happy. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. I love you.